My ex-wife and I ran into each other at the restaurant, 10 years after our divorce. "Long time no see," I said. She looked at my new wife beside me and froze. She didn't recognize me at first, not entirely. Maybe it was the tailored suit, the confident posture, or the way I held the gaze of the world, like I'd finally stopped apologizing for being in it. But as her eyes scanned mine, I saw it click. That subtle widening, that barely there gasp she thought no one would notice. I noticed. I noticed everything. 10 years earlier, I was the one frozen. On a Thursday afternoon, in a house that still smelled like vanilla candles and promises, I found out the truth. It came in the form of a message she forgot to delete. A thread of text from someone named R. I didn't need to dig far. One scroll told me everything. Hotel names, intimate confessions, things she never whispered to me even when we were newlyweds. She'd been cheating for months. It wasn't anger that hit me first. It was a hollow, cold silence. The kind that creeps into your bones and makes you question whether any of it, your marriage, your memories, your mornings, was ever real. I didn't confront her immediately. I watched quietly for days. I looked at her through a different lens. The way she smiled at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The sudden meetings after work. The distance in bed, blamed on stress and headaches. When I finally asked her, direct, quiet, broken, she didn't deny it. She barely looked guilty, just shrugged and said, "I didn't think you'd find out." That was the moment something broke. Not just between us, but inside me. The divorce was swift. She didn't fight. She wanted out, said she'd fallen out of love, and didn't want to pretend anymore. She moved in with him a week later, and I was left alone, with a one-bedroom apartment, a crushed heart, and the echo of her laughter in rooms she no longer lived in. I don't remember the first few months clearly. It was a blur of sleepless nights and autopilot routines. Work kept me standing. Barely. Friends try to help. But there are some wounds you have to bleed out on your own. Then one night, staring at my reflection in the darkened screen of my TV, I asked myself, what now? That question saved me. I signed up for therapy. Started running. At first to exhaust myself so I could sleep, but later because I liked how it made me feel alive again. I took a break from dating, from distractions, from trying to fill the silence with noise. I read, traveled, took risks in my career. I failed. I learned. I rose. Year by year, the pain dulled. Then one day, I no longer thought of her when I heard a love song or passed our favorite coffee shop. That was when I knew I was free. And then I met Anna. She wasn't loud or showy. She didn't sweep in with fireworks. She walked into my life like a quiet sunrise, warm, steady, necessary. She loved without asking me to prove myself. She listened, understood, never compared me to anyone else. Her kindness felt like a language I'd forgotten how to speak. She didn't fix me. I had already done that part. But she reminded me that I was worth loving the way I had always loved. We married 3 years ago. Nothing extravagant, just vows, family, laughter, and peace. God, there was peace. Which brings me back to the restaurant. Anna and I were celebrating a small promotion. Nothing major, but enough for a nice evening out. We were laughing over drinks, holding hands across the table like two people who still enjoyed being near each other. Then I heard a familiar voice behind me. I turned. It was her, my ex-wife. She hadn't aged poorly, but she hadn't aged freely either. There was a tension in her smile, a tightness around her eyes that spoke of things unsaid and years unlived. Her hair was styled perfectly, her dress elegant, but there was something missing. Something I once tried so hard to give her. "Long time no see," I said, calm as ever. She looked at Anna, and for a split second, everything stopped. I could see the thoughts racing through her eyes. The way her gaze flicked from Anna's gentle smile to the ring on her finger, to the way I was looking at her, not with pain or longing, but with peace. "This is my wife," I added. Anna reached out and shook her hand warmly, without hesitation. "Because that's who she is." My ex mumbled a polite, "Hi," then looked back at me. "You look different." "I am," I said. She nodded slowly. "Well, Good for you. There was a weight behind those words. Not jealousy exactly, more like regret. Not because I was happy now, but because she had no idea what she threw away until it was standing in front of her, unbothered and complete. We said goodbye shortly after. I watched her walk back to her table alone. No one sat across from her. And in that moment, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel satisfaction. Just a quiet understanding that sometimes people lose the best thing in their life because they're too blind to see it until it's long gone. Anna squeezed my hand. "You okay?" she asked. I smiled. More than okay. Because I was. And this peace, this love, this new life was the kind of revenge that didn't need words, only living. Some wounds don't just heal. They teach you how to never bleed the same way twice.